Alright guys, here's the Traxxas light kit. There's a part number. This one says it's for the X-Max, but it fits X-Max and XRT. We're going to be putting in this green XRT right here. It doesn't even fit on the bench, it's so big. Got to show you this first. You got the control box, the front bar, rear bar, all the cables, zip ties and screws. Basically it's going to mount back here on this cage, screw in there. It's also going to mount on the bumper. We'll check that out right now. But there's the kit. Guys, this is a fairly simple install. We're going to pop the body off. There's a light bar that's going to mount on the body. There's also one that's going in the bumper. So on the body, you see this cage going here. You have to take that off. Take all these screws out. That way we can get this off because the rear light bar actually mounts in here and the screws go in this way. So there's a screw here and here and you can't get to it without taking this off. So I'll zip this off real quick and then we'll look at that. Alright, so we got it off. This top brace, as you can see, that rear light bar fits in there nice and snug. It has two holes. You see the screw holes there where the screws go in. So we'll get that laced in there. You can tell by the angle of it what way it goes. The wires are coming out the driver's side. So we'll get the screws, get those in there. Alright, that's mounted in there. Two screws, it's going to look pretty sweet. I'm going to have to get a reamer and poke a hole in the body. That way these can fit through. So I'll set these on there, kind of figure out where it's going to go, and then poke a hole so that'll stick through. I think I'm going to slip some heat shrink over this just to give it some protection where it goes through the body. So I'll probably do that right now. Just gonna drill it big enough for everything to go through. A little bit bigger. Get that back in there. Stick the plugs through, push the wires through. And we're gonna bolt this back together. Worked out pretty good. You can't see the hole where they're at, so it's going to look pretty sweet. So we'll get this bolted back up. Alright, we'll set the body aside. Now that that's done, so light bar is going to sit right down in here. There's two screws that hold it on. We're going to zip this bumper off, make it easy on ourselves. That way we can get in there a little easier. So light bar's gonna sit here like that. Looks pretty good. All right, we're mounted there. So we'll get this bumper back on. Get it back on there. Then we'll wire up the control box. So I got the control module installed, then plugged into the speed control. You gotta take these two bolts off. This top cover lifts off right under the fan. There's a little plug that I showed. This plug comes out, and that's where you plug it in. You have to plug this harness in here. It's gonna plug into C and D. This guy's zip tied. Get the fronts plugged in, and then we'll be able to test them. So I'll get all that cleaned up and zip tied. Then we'll fire this baby up and see what they look like. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. Got the controller. This is the wire for the rear lights. You plug it in here. This comes over here, goes to the ESC. See, it plugs in here. That's where I had to take that dummy plug out. Take these two bolts out. That lifts off, and you can plug that in. And the lights come from the front. When you put this front light bar on, make sure you put it where the wires come out the bottom. That way it clears the body. Kind of ran it down there. Because if you flip it the other way, it'll come out the top on this side, which is kind of close to the body. You might cut it. So that's that. Then I'll show you the body right now. We'll get it plugged in. Then we'll fire them up. All right, here's the body. Lights coming through the hole. I just kind of did a loop, zip tied it there. Then it's zip tied here. And this is what's going to plug in to this guy. Doubt I'll be able to do it one-handed, but I can try. Give it a shot. All right, so we're powering up. I just turned it on. It's got different modes. You see the lights are on there. You got the rear lights on here. So it looks like a low beam and a high beam. Then off. So then the rear are just going to be the tail lights. Cool. Looks like we got it. Don't want to run it off the bench. We'll go drive it outside, check it out. So here it is at night. With the low beams on. They're pretty bright. Not crazy, but man, it looks cool. It's kind of crazy. The ESC light actually lights up through the, it like glows through the body. See the reverse light? First light's pretty bright. Sorry, the camera footage isn't picking it up, but you get the gist of it. Not sure if you can tell the difference, but there's the high beams. Actually, that's quite a bit of a difference. You can actually see. Oh yeah. The low beams, I don't know if you could drive with the low beams. But the high beams, you could drive this thing. Don't want to get too crazy. But there it is. It's bright. The high beam is definitely the one to do. Neat how the ESC shines through. Alright guys, there's the Traxxas light kit. It's a winner in my opinion if you're going to run it at night. It's pretty bright.